20 tips to double your website traffic. Tip number 1. Know your buyer persona. Knowing who you're targeting will make sure you can create content that feels tailor-made for them. This increases the chances of them coming back and engaging with your brand, and that sends powerful signals to Google. Tip number 2. And your why. The key is not to try and appeal to everyone. Have a statement. Have a style. Stand out. Tip number 3. Have a strong logo. Your logo is what will tie this together and communicate it to your visitors, along with other visual language used on your site. Tip number 4. Offer value. Offer so much value that your audience feels as though they are stealing from you. Tip number 5. Use evergreen content. Evergreen content is content that will be just as relevant in 10 years as it is now. This is immensely powerful as it will continue to generate traffic even as you make more new posts. Tip number 6. Be everywhere. You should have a presence on every form of social media. Tip number 7. Integrate your social media. Your social media should be interlinked and linked with your blog/website. Tip number 8. Guest post. Guest posting is an excellent way to get your site seen, and to gain positive link juice from Google. Tip number 9. Work your way up. You won't land a guest post on a top blog on day 1. But by starting small and working up, you can gradually get noticed. Tip number 10. Focus on intent. A good keyword has an intent that aligns with what you are writing. In other words, try to identify why someone is searching for your content. Tip number 11. Improve page loading speed. If your page is slow to load, this will drastically harm your reputation in the eyes of Google. Tip number 12. Be mobile friendly. Mobile friendliness means that your website looks great on a phone or tablet. This is mandatory for good rankings. Tip number 13. Cover breaking news. This has the opposite appeal to evergreen content, but allows you to reach a large audience that will keep coming back for updates. Tip number 14. Get media coverage. Releasing press releases and contacting journalists can gain you free exposure to a huge audience. But only if you are doing something that they will find useful and interesting. Tip number 15. Write a book. This lesser-known strategy is amazing for authority and your relationship with the media. Tip number 16. Be consistent. Be consistent with what you write and post to social media. Make sure that you have a steady supply of quality content. Tip number 17. Use a video ad. For an example of how to do this right, look at Tai Lopez. Tai went from a nobody to one of the biggest influencers on the net overnight. Tip number 18. Use PPC. PPC is a powerful tool for advertising that will let adapt to your budget and goals. Tip number 19. Calculate your CLV. This tells you how much money you make from each visitor, thus defining your budget for advertising. Tip number 20. Keep at it. Don't quit. Success won't come overnight, but your efforts build on top of one another.